Hello, everyone. Lisa Cernka, Functional Medicine Center for Wellness. I keep looking down at myself instead of looking at the camera, getting used to this. Welcome to the Insider Power Hour for members of the Functional Medicine Center, people who are in active treatment, deluxe treatment, or in our basic membership. So this is a closed discussion group. And I want to remind you that, and we'll go over the rules because I haven't gone over the rules in a while, and I'm going to go over the rules and kind of talk about what the format is again, if this is the first time you're joining us. So I just want to share my paint by number. That's my adult paint by number. I am a person who has zero artistic talent. That gene skipped me. It went to my little brother, who is a graphic artist. And apparently to my older brother, because I saw him and he did some free painting. It was fantastic. So I'm the one that can't do it. So, but I got this. If you know me, you know I love elephants, right? My spirit animal, my motivational animal. And I love this picture because it's about the generations, right? If you look, you got all the way down to the babies. It's community, it's support, it's the family, it's the mom, it's the dad. It's what we thrive in and what nature thrives in, right? When we have community. And that's what the Insider Power Hour is all about, is coming together with like-minded people who may or may not be struggling with the same kind of problems that you're and challenges that you're having, and looking for people who can help do that. So I am going to share my screen here, and we are going to get on. So this is the Insider Power Hour. I am not trying to be super crazy polished here, but oh, look at it's all automated. My VA, she's fantastic. Okay, this is the Insider Power Hour, June 23rd. That's who I am. And I want to welcome you all again. And I want to talk about these kind of rules that we have and what is this group visit all about. And remember that the group visit, the educational piece, and the closed discussion group are all part of your membership. This is another way for you to connect with me, get free additional question and answers. I'm going to be bringing in guest speakers. I am proud to announce, you're going to get a detailed email later on today about my health coach, my health and wellness coach, Rapali Luchansky. She is IFM trained. She understands the process and all the tools that you use with Living Matrix and help you get through this. And this subject that we're talking about today, we're going to be talking about sleep and how we reduce our inflammatory risk score. She's the person on the team that's going to help you change the behaviors that you need to change in order to improve or reach your goals. And I'm really excited that she's going to be on board for you. This is an educational presentation or guest lecture. The first 30 minutes of the Insider Power Hour is education. It's recorded and it's placed in the Solutions Learning Library. And the Solutions Learning Library will be going live soon. You will have access to that free. So if you miss the presentation and you can't attend live, you can at least see the recorded session, because the group sessions are not recorded. The private discussions are not recorded. It can be lecture style. It can be lab review, because I did do a lab review early on. I believe we did a pure genomics, genetic testing. It can be just plain old live Q&A, or submitted questions that I get throughout the week, or something that I'm doing like right now, which is a lecture series. So I started a couple weeks back about inflammatory risk score. We scored your inflammation, and now we're moving on the different pieces on how to reduce that score. So it's a great value for your membership. The closed group discussions are the remaining 30 minutes of the hour, and they are not recorded because we're sharing some private personal experience and sometimes health information. It's a guided discussion by me or the health coach. Rupali may be doing a few of those. Participation is optional. You can attend, kind of sit back, don't say anything if you don't want. These will be online and they will be in person. I am now getting ready to kind of walk the village here and find some reasonable in-person places where we feel that there's space to accommodate a small group. People feel comfortable being there. I do have a waiting room. You've all seen it. Maybe we can get 10 people in there, and if we want larger groups. So I'm putting together some options. I want you to remember to be curious and open-minded, that everyone is at a different stage in their journey, that we are students and learning, including me. I am always learning. No one has all the answers. You all know that. I'm always going to some sort of class. I'm always going to some sort of clinical group discussion. And emotions are welcomed and embraced. A lot of the things that we talk about can have an emotional undercurrent. And sometimes those will come to the surface, and we will respect that. We will embrace it and support you as a community. But I want to remember, please don't think of terms in black and white, but shades of gray. Because what is fantastic about functional medicine is that it is incredibly individualized. And there can always be a way that we can modify things, tools, food plans, anything that we talk about that would fit into your lifestyle. And that's where Rupali, the health and wellness coach, comes in, because, and we'll talk in detail about what she can do and how she can propel you and give you some really great guidance. Again, free, because it's part of your membership. I challenge you all to go out and Google what it would cost for you to hire a private health and wellness coach. And some of you may have already done that, so you might understand what the benefit is, right? So I'm going to stop that screen share for a second, and now we're going to get into the inflammatory risk score. So what I want to remind you is when you go into the Solutions Learning Library, with each lecture will be the attachments, because every lecture will have an attachment. There will be this attachment. So if you came in late, or if you're new to the membership community, you can go back and watch the first one, download these tools, get your risk score, and move forward in the lecture series. So as I had said earlier, we had talked about food in detail. We had talked about stress and vagal tone in detail. You got some great tools when it came to that. If you weren't here for that or haven't watched those, please go back and watch those. You don't have to watch them in order to be at this class, but those certainly help build. So today we're going to talk about sleep, because if you look at sleep is critical, mission critical. We talk about that quite a lot when you first meet me, right? And we talk about the circadian rhythm, how it affects cortisol, how it affects your stress response. We know that when we are in a sustained, constant state of fight or flight, which is sympathetic nervous system, and we did talk about that last week, sympathetic nervous system, and we never move into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and restore, we can never reset this pattern. And if we can't reset this pattern, it directly affects our immune protective barrier in our gut called secretory IgA, right? Zonulin, leaky gut, it affects that. And then when we start having those kinds of symptoms, we start this inflammatory process. It is no surprise that in my practice, it's a puzzle piece. The logo is a puzzle piece. Everybody comes to me with all these pieces of their puzzle, and they may even have a couple of them put together to start finding out what exactly is the picture that we're looking at. But our goal is to put these things together. This is a critical puzzle piece. This is a critical part. And we do measure this, as you know, we measure your stress response. We can look at your cortisol awakening response. We can look at your patterns. And there is actually a sleep questionnaire, which I am getting ready to incorporate in the intake process and throughout your treatment with me so that we can always keep track of sleep. It's really important to do that. People who have really big problems with this and inflammatory risk are shift workers. Uh, Shift workers have a hard time with this, and it is a biological response. And we can get into some very, very detailed in the weeds biology and science about um, the inflammatory or the cortisol biology cortisol response, but we won't do that today. Just know that it's very important in what we do. So now we're going to talk a little bit about sleep, your sleep, and everyone will get this sleep questionnaire to complete. And you will be able to forward it because I will send it to you in your Living Matrix account if you have one. If you're a basic member and you don't have a Living Matrix account, then I can send this to you in a separate email. And you can still set up an appointment to review this with me. So if you're finding that it's a problem, you don't know until you start asking, right? And it is 4 pages long. So there's a lot of information that we need to know about sleep and sleep hygiene and your environment and the bed and the pillows. And I should take a picture of it. I literally at one point had, I think 10 or 15 pillows right beside my bed. And every couple hours I'd wake up and change the pillow because something hurt or my neck hurt, a headache, something happened. You know, it really, truly, really messed up my sleep. So understanding all the things that contribute to interrupting sleep is very important as well. And so we'll talk about that. Then, so I found, I love doing these classes because I found this amazing website that I'm going to make sure you guys all have this resource. It's on one website. It's called sleepassociation.org. And look at all of the topics they have here. This is fantastic. I love to have these resources. This may be, after I go through everything here, it may be my new go-to, but sleep disorder statistics. Some of you may have seen these kinds of things in the past, but it's pretty astonishing. Nearly 70 million people have a sleep disorder. That's a lot. Nearly 50% of those are reporting that they have a snoring problem. And if you sleep next to somebody who has a snoring problem, you have a sleep problem too, right? Drowsy driving is huge. You know that transportation departments of transportation have put into rules and regulations of how much long distance drivers can drive. When do they need to take a break? That stuff is really important. Obstructive sleep apnea. I know it seems like a lot of people have been given this diagnosis of sleep apnea, but it is truly important. And understanding if you do have sleep apnea, I know a lot of people tend to put their head in the sand and avoid this subject because the treatment is wearing that crazy Darth Vader mask thing, right? And people will say, "Oh, it's uncomfortable and it's this and it's that and it's this." But obstructive sleep apnea actually causes heart damage. It actually causes heart damage. What? Really? And so it's not a thing to ignore. And then, you know, I love this school start times. I think it's really critical that we move our start times for sleep back. And And then having good sleep hygiene, which is difficult today with today's technology. We take technology to bed with us, and it is a great sleep disruptor. And then here are the sleep needs by age group, right? How many of you, me included, when you're a little kid, you fight naps, you fight bedtime, you fight all that stuff, right? And then as we get older, I don't know about you, but as an adult, and you give me a chance to take a siesta, I'm there. If you say to me, hey, I'm going to bed early tonight, especially in the winter, right? 7:30, jammies are on, I'm ready for bed. So it's so funny how we flip that, right? As children, we fight sleep, and as adults, we're like, we're not getting enough sleep. So this is a great website. The other thing that I pulled up on here were the stages and sleep cycle. Um, this is deep down into the geeky part of it, right? And why do we need this? Well, it's about going into REM sleep or restorative sleep and engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and restore. Okay. And when we do that and we reset the circadian rhythm, as we are doing the other things to reduce inflammation, we have a recipe that really holds back and keeps inflammation in check. So it's important to understand sometimes the science behind it. Um, and I can we can talk to some sleep experts and we can talk about what that means, what this all means, REM sleep. I'm sure you've heard some of these things. This is a nice one-page stages of the sleep cycle. It doesn't get too involved. Um, and the thing is too, is when you're new parents, I don't think you ever go into deep sleep. Um, it's a I think it's a biological thing that we stay in these very light sleeping stages, and we never really get into this slow wave deep sleep. And it's important that we do that, and it allows the brain to rest and restore. And I think I wanted to pull another page up. Oh, insomnia. Yeah, let's talk about insomnia ever so slightly here. Sorry, you saw the behind the scenes stuff there. So this is a great graphic that I like, and I'm going to blow it up a little bit here. And again, my mentor, Dr. Laura, is so talented. She puts these things together. So let's look at um, the drivers in insomnia. A lot of things contribute to insomnia. Things that are stimulants. And we really have to look at the stimulants and things that we think are helpful. Like some people will take a sleep aid that has Benadryl in it, but it can disrupt the sleep wake cycle. So, looking at processed foods, and we did this early on in our second lecture series here. We talked about the excitatory foods, alcohol, electronics, blue light, uh, daytime napping for shift workers. The sleep-wake cycle is next up. This happens a lot to the elderly as well. And it has a lot to do with the fact that they don't have access a lot to outside and natural light sometimes. And of course, they are heavily medicated in polypharmacy, many pills, some 25, 30 pills, and they all have effects. Caffeine, and some of you who have done your pure genomics testing, there's a genetic little marker that tells you whether or not you metabolize caffeine slowly or quickly. So that's important, right? I'm a slow caffeine metabolizer. So for me, any caffeine past like 11 o'clock in the morning can be really a problem for me sleeping at night. And you have to remember what holds caffeine, what foods, chocolate, There are green tea. Some green teas have very high caffeine. So you have to kind of take a look at all that. And then people coming into the bed, kids crawling in, pets crawling in. I think that there have been a few people that have said to me, I can't get any sleep. It's because of my dog. It's because of my cat. I have one of those cats that likes to get belly rubs at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I understand. I love my pets too. And but those are things that you need to look at when you're looking at your sleep hygiene. And then we talk about all the aids and things that you can do to replace. And those are some of the things that Rupali, the health coach, can help. You and I can put together a sleep treatment or action plan. And you may say, okay, now how do I navigate this? And then Rupali can come in and say, okay, this is the best way to do this, and find out where you're at, what your lifestyle is like, and how do we do this in a stepwise fashion so that you're successful, right? Because it's all about being successful. Okay, so we went through quite a bit. I didn't go into the day-to-day sleep hygiene actions. However, in the questionnaire that you'll all have access to if you don't come to the closed group discussion, it will start helping you to understand and ask the questions about sleep hygiene. And then the resources in there with that that website, that will also be a link so that you can go to that website and take a look at some sleep hygiene issues. Real quickly though, let's go over oh, I think I closed that one. So I think what we'll do in the group discussion, in the closed group discussion that we move into for the next 30 minutes, is we will talk about some of the challenges that come along with getting good quality sleep, and how you have overcome those kinds of things, what has worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, and bring to the discussion the importance of when sleep starts to become regular and restorative, what kind of changes have you seen in your health, in your ability to think clearly, and the benefits of that. So I look forward to talking to you all in the closed group. And if you missed this week's closed group, I hope to see you next week, because next week we're going to talk about toxins, toxic burden, and how does that affect your inflammatory score. So understanding where we are in the environment and what we're exposed to. So thank you. I'll see you in a few minutes.